make my dauphinoise potatoes, I have already prepared the potatoes. So in here I have got slices of potato. You can do these by using a food processor. A lot of them have an attachment where you can slice your potatoes, or you can do them by hand. I've done mine by hand. They do vary slightly. Some are slightly thinner than others, but it's all good. We're going to layer this up and these are going to taste absolutely beautiful. Now, I like to soften my potatoes first. So to do that, I'm probably going to just choose to use the pot in pot method and pressure cook them. As always with pressure cooking, 250 mils minimum in the bottom of your pot. And then you can really do this how you like. It doesn't really matter because they're going to come out and they're going to be layered between, you know, the cream and the cheese and everything else that we're putting in there. So I don't see why we can't just go with the air fryer basket in there and literally just lay them in. So I'm just going to spread them out and they are going to cook absolutely fine like this. I'm only going to be putting these under pressure for a really short amount of time. We are just doing the same as if we were doing these on the hob. So if you were making these, you would probably, I'm guess, parboil them. That's how I would normally do mine. So that's what I'm doing here really with this process. As you can see, I soaked my potatoes in water. In hindsight, it might be better to not do this because this added starch element that you get would actually help thicken the sauce when it comes to layering up the potatoes. Let's get the lid down and some power onto my Ninja. Slide right the way across so we can go to our pressure cook. I want a quick release. I'm only going to do these for 1 minute. I think that is literally all they're going to need just to soften those potatoes slightly. Make sure your pressure valve up above is on seal, which is pushed just towards the back. And let's go. The pressure has just been released. We can now open up the lid. Lovely. So what I want to do is grab the air fryer basket with my potatoes in. You can see those there. If you cut yours any thinner than mine, then I'd probably only do this for 0 minutes because these are extremely soft. I'm going to put them to one side and let them cool down because we need to be able to handle those potatoes and they are way too hot as things stand at the moment. Going to empty the pot. Let's get rid of the excess water that we've got left. Let's get that back in and we can go on to sear and saute. Now, this isn't particularly essential, but I'm trying to make these taste absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat my milk and my cream that I've got in here. I'm only just trying to heat it to infuse it. So it doesn't necessarily need to be warm when you're making this dish. But I'm going to put in a couple of garlic cloves in here and then also some ground nutmeg. And I'm just going to let that warm through, and rather than putting in raw garlic into this, I think it's really nice if you can just get the flavours of garlic without it being too harsh. Obviously, if you absolutely adore your garlic, then go ahead and crush it in. It's up to you. What I've also done is prepared my tin here, and I'm using the Ninja pot. I've greased it with some butter and I've also rubbed it with some garlic. So what I did, I've just got 1 clove of garlic that's in there. I cut it in half and I rubbed it all the way around in that butter. So you can really smell the garlic kind of flavour that has given that butter in there. And then now that's going to infuse this for us. So the garlic is working pretty hard for us without actually being in the dish. So now we can get started with layering this up. So my potatoes, they aren't cold, but they're just, you know, I've just basically spread them out so that I can actually touch them and hold them. In hindsight, I was really debating whether to go with a minute or to go 0 minutes. And I actually think that I should have gone 0 minutes because these potatoes are very soft. But I absolutely hate if you get a potato dish and you get some hard bits. For me, there is absolutely nothing worse. So if yours are cut fairly chunkily, then you're going to be okay with the same as me. But yeah, basically, if yours are very, very fine, then definitely 0 minutes is the way to go on pressure cook. And if you didn't know that, you can literally go down to 0 minutes. It's no problem at all. So layer of potatoes. I like to put a little bit of salt. So basically I'm going to do a little bit of flavouring on each layer. I've got some thyme, so I'm just going to pull off the thyme leaves and put that through as well. I think that's really nice in this dish to flavour it with some herbs. I'll just pull those leaves off and sprinkle those over. And then I've got some Gruyère cheese, and this is optional. You don't have to put cheese into this dish. We absolutely love a cheesy potato in this house, so I am opting to use it. You can definitely just leave that out. If that is not for you, I don't think it's very traditional in a dauphinoise potato, but I think it tastes absolutely incredible. So then continue like that. So just layer up your potatoes. I don't add the milk and cream in until the end. So once the potatoes are all layered up how we want them, then we just pour that over at the end. So there's probably not much of a need for you to watch me keep layering this up. So I'm just literally going to repeat the steps that I've already done and just go with the same again. If you've got any little bits of potato that have broken off, if you've got any little gaps, it's quite handy to then be able to fill those with those little smaller pieces of potato. Now that's all my potatoes in with the layers. So it's probably around 3 good layers there. We've got 1 kilogram of potatoes that I have used. Now I've got my milk here, so I just need to get those garlic cloves and take those out of there. So this is a mixture of milk and the cream. So if we can find that other one. Oh my goodness, it was there a minute ago. Where's it gone? There it is. There you go, got that out. That smells really nice. Warming nutmeg, little hum of garlic in there. And obviously all that rich cream and milk going over these potatoes. And it always looks like a lot. Don't worry, trust the process. You're going to be absolutely fine. You can make these purely with double cream and leave out the milk and you'll have a thicker sauce. Also, by not soaking those potatoes, the starch will also help thicken the sauce. I've used 70 grams in total of the cheese. I think that is around the perfect amount. I think that looks really, really great. So it's seasoned all the way through really nicely. We've got the thyme in there as well. I'm now going to bake this. So I'm going to sit the Ninja pot on the rack and then I am going to lower that down. If I'm honest, I'm not sure whether I want to cover this or not, because sometimes in the Ninja pot, the heat gets pretty intense and this can definitely colour too much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run with it. I'm going to put it on to bake and we're going to see how we get on, and I may cover it partway through if it is colouring too much. It makes a massive difference if you allow this just to sit for 5–10 minutes. It's still going to stay beautifully warm, but you'll find that that sauce that it sits in starts to set and thicken, and it just makes it so much nicer when you dish it up. So just give it a little bit of time before you dive in. These potatoes were so rich and creamy and of course cheesy too. Absolutely delicious. I hope you've enjoyed the recipe.